Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. What is good? Okay, so the purpose of this video is to establish how to read vector candles. Now, what I mean about a vector candle is these green candlesticks right here. Okay, now if you are new and you want access to these candlesticks, go to the Traders Reality website and you'll be able to download them free of charge. Once you've done that, come back to this video. Now listen, the vector candles are the biggest clues as to what the market maker is trying to achieve. Why? Because it's only the market maker that can move candles like this. This is liquidity. Okay? So, just to bring it back, you may have heard me say this before, ladies and gentlemen, but you know what? We can't be wrong in repeating this information, because if the business model doesn't change, then hearing the same thing over and over again is going to improve the chances of it actually being installed in your mind, and then subconsciously there's going to be a representation in your mind when you see price formulate a structure with the utility of these green vector candles or red, and you'll be able to understand what they're trying to do. So here we go. What is Mr. Market Maker doing when he's forming these vector candles? Well, check this out. Imagine this is a range and price, okay? And price is moving up and down in this range, okay? Now, within this range, there are many instances where price goes up, it goes down, there's vector candles with inside of this area, but price is being contained for a particular reason. Now, we understand that Mr. Market Maker is the liquidity provider. He provides the liquidity so that when you go to buy from an exchange, the contract that is sold against you is a sell, okay? Because you can only buy if someone sells. Because you're going to have to ask yourself, where's the liquidity going to come from when I'm in a profit? Who's going to pay me that? It's not Binance, not Bybit. You've heard me say it before. It's Mr. Market Maker. So Mr. Market Maker, how does he get price to behave like this? Well, whilst price is moving up and down in this range, okay, he has orders set above and he has orders set below, okay? And what he aims to do is if he can create enough pressure in this zone right here, and when I say pressure, what orders are coming into the marketplace by the retail trader who believes price is going to go up or down. Now, Mr. Market Maker can actually lead price into the narrative. If he aims to try and build price and then shift it to the upside, he will make it look like price is going lower because he wants to get longs filled at the lowest possible point with the anticipation to break out to the upside with the best fill possible and then realize a return and start taking advantage of these trades that are due to be open as well. Now, you've got to understand, these trades right here are shorts for Mr. Market Maker and closing longs at the same time. Okay, so he's got orders running in all the time, ladies and gentlemen. But what you've got to try and keep in your mind is this. When price is rising up, okay, so let me just remove all of this. When price is moving to the upside, okay, there are already positions in the chart by the retail trader, which we would understand to be liquidation points, okay? So if you go long from this area here, or you go short from this same area, for the short traders, their liquidation points are up here. For the long traders, their liquidation points are down here. Now, what Mr. Market Maker does is this. When you close a short at a loss, okay, you are buying to cover. You don't sell a short. You can't sell a short twice because all you'd be doing is opening another position in the existing short that you have. So what do? You buy it back. Behind that purchase, okay, is if your liquidation point is above this zone right here and your short is here, when price moves up into that area, Mr. Market Maker already has an order set right there, which in principle releases the liquidity from your trade and he uses it to offset the close on his long to the upside, and he's then in the same position to build a short purely on the transaction of what's happening in this zone. I hope that makes sense. In other words, if we look at the chart itself, ladies and gentlemen, Watch this. In this zone earlier on, if you remember in the live stream at 2 p.m, we saw that the 41,712 had $85 million worth of liquidations. And those were the long liquidations, which were trapped in this area right here. So only 1, 2, 3 hours before that, traders had gone long to the upside, the belief that Bitcoin was going to break higher. But of course, pattern watchers in the channel were aware that the 800 EMA was acting as a resistance, and we know what the 800 EMA is about. Now, all those retail traders that went long in this area, Mr. Market Maker had to sell them those positions. So what he did was he built his shorts inside of those traders' longs. Now, you see that is evident with the green vector candle, because this is where transactional volume in terms of the tick chart was at its most. Look at the volume. It's rising up. The tick chart in this area here tells you how many times price changes hands, and the only candidate that can create that is Mr. Market Maker. Doesn't matter who's behind it. We know Mr. Market Maker is present with these vector candles. So these are the clues. Now, going back to the liquidations at 41,712. There was $85 million worth of long liquidations in that zone, okay? Mr. Market Maker had built his shorts to the upside. He knows that he can get $85 million worth of long liquidations in this zone right here. He knows he can send it there. So what does he do? He stops filling orders in this zone. And that's where you see price just stalling and not doing much. It doesn't follow through or anything, okay? The stopping volume candle right there on the 1 hour time frame sort of is an indication that Mr. Market Maker is preparing to do something. The next candle follows through and takes out those liquidations. So all those shorts that Mr. Market Maker had built have realized a return in profit. Now, the way he realizes a profit is by releasing the liquidity from the margins of the long traders who have got liquidation points close by. So the same guys that went long here got liquidated at the same time, okay, as price came back into this zone. So how can we learn to read vector candles? Well, look, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Market Maker likes to move in threes, and you've heard me say it before. When you see the presence of 3, 1, 2, 3, we know Mr. Market Maker is planning on doing something. We didn't have the retrace to the 50. Look at this range. They consolidated. Remember the image down here where there was the range right there? If I draw it out again for you, you've got the box, you've got price building up and down inside of this range right here. Mr. Market Maker has got orders to the upside right here, and he's got orders to the downside right here. He knows there are liquidations for the longs up here. Sorry, the shorts up here, and the liquidation for the longs down here. He contains price in this zone. He starts to build his position in this zone. Okay, tries to keep price down lower, wicks it up and down, gets the commitment of traders. Do traders believe price is going to go higher? Bull flag and what have you. He then shifts out. Price moves higher. Influx of traders come in. Green vector candle, presence. We know that this is a trap. Mr. Market Maker is trapping traders. He starts off 1, he builds. 2, he builds. 3, shifts out. Rejection at the 800 EMA. No follow through on the vector candle. You see, the vector candle is good at telling you if they genuinely mean to shift out of a zone. For example, whenever you see a vector candle breaking through a moving average from below, it's an indication that things are going to change and go in that direction of the break. For example, look at this. Green vector candle breaks above the 50 EMA. If you were to simply take trades on this principle, and of course there are so much more aspects behind it, but just visually, if you were to just take a trade on the idea that the green vector candle was going to break higher and continue higher, you would use moving averages as your first points of interest, or in other words, target profits. Okay? Remember, Bitcoin has been dropping for quite some time and we are in this zone. Okay? So when we say we are in this zone, we are assuming that this structure right here is going to play out, and they shifted out of the structure. Look at the red vector candle. Take the trade on the first red vector candle that breaks below the 50 EMA. Happy days, there it is. There's that red vector candle zone. What do you see? The presence of 3. 1, 2, and 3. Reverses it back up. 1, 2, and 3. Holds, starts the process, shifts out again to the upside, retraces, and then finalizes the move with 1, 2, 3 hits to the high. Okay? Now, today we were waiting for Bitcoin to try and break through the 800. We didn't get it, ladies and gentlemen, which is why we do not take trades when price lands at a moving average. We wait for the confirmation, which is where we are right now. How can we use the vector candles now to understand what price is doing? Well, look, the red vector candle has broken down. It's gone below the 5 and the 13 EMA, but it hasn't closed below it. Price came back up, and then the violet vector candle comes in, taps the 50 once, taps the 50 twice over here, and now we are in this zone. So we've only come back into the same spot that we were only a few hours ago. Does it mean Bitcoin now is going to collapse to the downside? Well, guess what? Let's have a look at the previous vector candles. Can we justify it? Here's one zone right here. Mr. Vector Candle, or Mr. Market Maker, he's going to want to try and see if he can bring price back into this range at some point so that he can take advantage of the shorts that he built from this zone whilst trying to close longs from his previous move to the downside. Notice how the green vector candle, look left, where does it marry up to? Take it, marry it to the left, and what do you see? Vector zones. One right there. Do it again. Next vector zones. Right there. Typical, isn't it, how the tip of this zone right here actually marries up towards ever so close to the top of that red vector candle. It's disgusting, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen? Why? Because this is the point where they last sold from, and that's exactly what they did. Okay? Now, the takeaway for you, ladies and gentlemen, is this. Vector candles are an indication that Mr. Market Maker is preparing something. When you see price moving to the upside and you see this behavior right here, you can anticipate that there may be the presence of 3. So upon that, you wait for a retrace. Then when they retrace into this zone and consolidate price, you are waiting for another move to the upside. It happens, you're then coming back down. If they're sticking to the cycle, then you'll be paying attention to what they're doing in here. And you can see that there's a wick right there. So you could justify them coming back up into this wick and this wick right here as well. Can't deny that one. And then you wait for the consolidation to break out into that range one more time. And then once you are in the final zone of the 3 hits to the high or the presence of 3 or a cyclical move up, and you are close towards certain key moving averages, you've come back and previously recovered any vector points in the chart where they had previously sold off from. Are they taking profits in these zones? That is when you then decide to set your trade up so that you can ride into the narrative of them coming back to realize a return on their investment. Now, just because we've had this drop right down, does it mean that Bitcoin is going to completely take the whole range? Guess what? They may just do that. What day is it tomorrow? It's Thursday. Someone in the channel even earlier on said it. Tino, it's Wednesday today. Isn't it midweek reversal? Correct. In Forex, it would be deemed as a midweek reversal. But crypto, we understand it to be a Thursday. So this is quite interesting to say that Bitcoin has come back down in this zone. We've got Powell talking tomorrow. Powell's going to testify in the US. Could that be the reason why Bitcoin dropped today? Or are they preparing price? So, you've seen the vector candles show their hand. Mark off in the zones where they are likely to move price towards. Use the moving averages as an indication of momentum breaking down. And then other than that, ladies and gentlemen, there is nothing more for you to do but to simply take the trade. Now listen, I have chewed your ears off for the best part of about 8-9 minutes. I don't know. But I do genuinely hope that you understand what I'm trying to say here. Okay? If you are new to the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button so you can catch up with us during the live streams. If you haven't downloaded these indicators, make your way over to the Traders Reality website, then you'll be able to actively download them, and they're all set to bring you back to TradingView. Okay? Upon that website, you've got the Wikipedia as well, the Traders Reality Wiki, sorry. Okay, there is a plethora of information in here, ladies and gentlemen, that has been contributed by all the members of the guys in the Discord. The Discord is free to join, so get yourself involved over there. And for anyone that does want to take advantage of more learning of the hybrid, we've got the masterclass sessions where there's over 54 masterclass sessions which break down each aspect of the hybrid system. Okay, these are like an hour to 2 hours long, but it just justifies certain aspects of the hybrid system, which you may want to dive in deeper on. Okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, now that we have just done this video, I do hope, again, it does serve its purpose. Go into the charts, mark off the ranges, okay? Try and read into the idea of what the candle is trying to say to you. What is the market maker trying to do? Because he can't hide his intention. Our goal is to try and understand its development in the idea that when they do prepare themselves to release, they're going to make their move. So from this point, do we anticipate them coming back up into this zone? You'd need to see the 50 EMA show aggressive nature to point upwards and price to follow through. Okay? Mad love and respect to all of you beautiful people. I won't be going live tonight, which is why I've done this video for you. Okay? Mad love and respect. Take care of yourselves, family. Peace.